What's going on, guys? How we doing? How we doing on this lovely? Wait, let's make sure all of our audio levels are working, man. Yeah, okay. It looks like they are. I don't know why it doesn't turn on live chat. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. So what's going on, motherfuckers? How we doing? How we doing on this fine day? So, how's how's everyone's toasty jams? I'm gonna tell you, dude. After being a massive simp for diamonds, the terpy little jewels, I'm here to tell you they're not it, man. I've been doing a little more batter recently, and I have to tell you, dude. I think batter and shatter are where it's at, dude. Which I know a lot of bros are out there. If it isn't shatter or not, if it's not shatter, it doesn't matter. I'm kind of getting that, man. Maybe because there's only such a limited supply of concentrate in the north, which it's a little wild. When I think about it, that that one little shop there supplies everybody in town. That's a wild concept, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I had a really good morning, dude. I had a really good morning. You guys want to see the funniest thing in the world, dude? So I made an AI. So I'm not even gonna lie, dude. So I have my book that I've been writing. So now I've been like making AI songs to my book. This is fucking hilarious shit, dude. I have a whole playlist. I think I'm like 26 songs deep. Um, yeah, dude. It's gonna be. It's fucking weird, dude. But one of them, for some reason, is blowing up on that app, dude. It is 9.5 thousand plays. What the fuck? That's weird, dude. I know why, bro. It's just got a cute chick in the picture, so people click it, and then they just go crazy with it. What's going on, Pixie? That's crazy. It's almost at 10,000 plays, dude. That's crazy. That's strange. Someone's bumping that shit. That's weird. That's crazy, dude. All right, well. Oh man. Young people don't party? And it's just that pic? No, no, that's a song. This one's in the Discord. Ghost and Girls. Kia liked this song. I was like, I didn't really like this one at all, dude. There was like some big debate that happened, and I can't remember who it was between, dude. Uh, oh, it was a Dave Smith debate. I remember that. Yes. And that's who it was.
There is no human toll.
All right, this is what I wanted to watch, dude. Oh, yeah, it's a different one than that one, yeah. Dude, I got like 26 songs on there, dude. That shit's hilarious. That shit's hilarious. All right, dude. So, Dave Smith and... Oh, Israel and the U.S. Okay. I typically like Coleman Hughes, so, I mean... Let's see what he's got to say.
In Gaza high enough for Hamas to be deterred.
You can't just keep your boot on these people's neck forever. Israel has an enormous moral obligation to end the destruction of Gaza and end the occupations of Gaza and the West Bank.
Hamas is absolutely committed to rejecting the only solution that could bring an end to this conflict.
Okay, we're gonna put ourselves in the Israeli shoes. Like, okay, I'm fine to do that. Let's do that. Could we also attempt to do that to the other side here? Like,
easily. I'll do it right now. I'll do it right now. Well,
I'm actually kind of like really hyped right now. All right, Coleman, what you got, dude?
Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coleman. My guest today is Dave Smith. Dave has been my most requested guest over the past year or so. He is a comedian and political commentator who focuses on American and Israeli foreign policy. Many of you will be familiar with him from his appearances on Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, and Piers Morgan. He also has a podcast called Part of the Problem. This conversation is the
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
longest I have ever recorded. And when we finished, both Dave and I had the strange experience of thinking we had spoken for 90 minutes and suddenly realizing it had been 3.5 hours. And still, there was a lot we didn't get to cover. It's not an exaggeration to say that Dave and I disagree about almost everything, but I think we were still able to have a productive debate with no ad hominems, no nastiness, and no cable newsy shouting, which is exactly what I try to do here on this show. And I'm thankful to Dave for being the kind of interlocutor that can actually do that without needing a moderator. In this episode, we talk about why Dave loves Ron Paul. We talk about the relationship between military spending and the economy. We talk about the roots of jihadist terror. We talk about whether Israel got us into the war in Iraq. We talk about whether Israel's fundamental goal is peace with its neighbors or territorial expansion. We talk about the creation of the State of Israel. We talk about the ethics of the occupation of the West Bank. We talk about the barriers to a two-state solution. And finally, we talk about Iran's nuclear ambitions and the 12-day war. So without further ado, Dave Smith.
When it's not always raining.
He's got an ad built into his channel. That's actually smart, because then he can just get paid directly. Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to do that? Yeah, you can't skip this.
Okay, Dave Smith.
Oh, okay, never mind. You can do that. Never mind. I know what you
Hey,
turned
Coleman,
on.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, so you are one of the most, maybe the most requested guest I've had over the past 6 months to a year. You have made a name for yourself as a very effective debater on Joe Rogan, on Piers Morgan, Lex Friedman you've been on, as a critic of U.S. foreign policy and also Israeli, the war in Israel. So I want to get to all these topics, and I want to say first that I think a lot of your conversations have devolved into sort of referendums on you as a person, which to me is totally uninteresting. And I think my audience knows what my MO is and what I'm about. I'm about talking about the substantive issues that both of our audiences care about. Like, we, in the grand scheme of history, our egos as people don't matter all that much. So I want to say that, and I hope that we can model that kind of conversation, though I expect us to disagree about many issues. If
God, I hope not.
Most.
If Pierce Morgan is the voice of reason, we're fucked.
Sound fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm going to say before we watch this, people like Dave Smith, people like Pierce Morgan, people like Joe Rogan, people like Hassan and his ilk, they all do the Palestinians a massive disservice by being so outspoken about these issues while sucking ass on covering these issues. Let's see how Dave does, but I've never seen him do well in a debate.
And that's kind of why I was looking forward to doing this, because, you know, not that we don't really know each other that well, but I've watched some of your stuff, and I've always kind of gotten that vibe from you that was how you would approach this conversation. And despite the fact that I have I've been in my fair share of like mudslinging competitions, I generally do not prefer to do it that way. And I completely agree with you. I think it's like one of the challenges of doing what we do is that
though this is probably going to be a massive fucking hug box for Dave Smith. I already know. Coleman's going to be pretty kind to him.
You're on a show and you're a public person, and you know, the tendency to focus on oneself or to make oneself the story, or for others to focus on the individual is it's very easy to fall into. And we all should remind ourselves, no matter where we fall on the issues, that like there's actually people dying right now. There's actually a conflict going on. Like there's huge implications to all of this, and that's actually much more important than any of that other stuff.
Oh my god, dude. An emotional appeal as your fucking opening about like, hey man, we should be way nicer to each other because people are getting hurt. Bro. What the fuck?
And so I am completely on board with that.
Okay, so before we get into the issues, I imagine many people in my audience might be familiar with you enough to know your origin story, but you're a comedian that's found a second career as a political commentator. And so walk me through that. What inspired you to get into all of these issues?
Well, I started stand-up comedy first, and I wasn't like political really at all. I mean, I was a little, you know, like I grew up in New York City. I was in New York City on 9/11. I was like a left liberal for most of my life, but without being very well informed or anything. Just that was kind of the standard, you know, starting point for like a Jewish kid raised by a single mom in Brooklyn. And then, so, you know, after 9/11, I did grow to really dislike.
Oh, that was smart, dude. Oh, shit. That was smart of him to add that in there. I'm just a Jewish kid, you know, like, so this way if anyone calls him an anti-Semite for the shit he's about to say, he's like, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm Jewish. That was a good running a defense right there. Let's see what, like, that's how he can avoid his criticisms.
Like George W. Bush. The 9/11 and the war in Iraq were very much kind of, you know, my coming of age time. And I was really against the war, and I was really against George W. Bush. I knew enough to get that. And then it was just in 2007.
Nah, dude, because, like, bro, this motherfucker, he uses the Bush administration and what happened in that war as like a precursor for his thought pattern for all things. That's why he's so hell-bent that any information from the government is a straight up lie. This dude is a conspiracy theorist all the way through.
I just happened to be watching the Republican primary debate, and I saw there was this what's now become kind of like a viral, famous moment where Ron Paul and Rudy Giuliani like go at it, arguing over what causes terrorism and what led to 9/11. And I don't know, just the moment to me was really fascinating. And it's still, I think, no matter what your politics are, a very fascinating moment. Because like at the time, Rudy Giuliani was polling #1. He was leading the pack. And Ron Paul is a complete unknown, like just a congressman from Texas who's has no national.
So this is like a Republican versus a Republican right now. This is going to be a weird situation. I'm so, dude, because Coleman is like, Coleman is like Republican light on a lot of his stuff, but he's very articulate and very well spoken, and he sounds very convincing. And then Dave Smith is like a far right, hanging out with like Nick Fuentes kind of guy.
Presence. And Rudy Giuliani, in terms of the crowd reaction, dominates him in this exchange. But Ron Paul is just dropping wisdom. And then from that, it created this huge movement, and to this day is still something that people like, I'll see posted all the time. Granted, my algorithm might be a little biased on that, but so that, and then I just fell down the rabbit hole. Like I was just so interested in that guy. So I went and got his book, and then I loved it. The book was Revolution. That was the first Ron Paul book that I ever read. And then I just started falling down the rabbit hole and reading.
Him and John Mayer touch tips. It's such a blemish to John Mayer's career that he's such a hardcore libertarian, dude. Such a blemish.
Everything I could get my hands on about libertarianism and foreign policy and
this motherfucker didn't know what the NAP was, the non-aggression principle, in a debate 6 months ago against Andrew Wilson. He's just lying.
Just political theory in general, history, economics. And then I don't know. I was just, for a while there, I was just a stand-up comedian. I was making, like, around this period of time, like 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, I was kind of like just eking out a living. Like some bigger comedians would bring me on the road with them. And so I was just like, I didn't have a day job. I was doing just good enough to be dead broke without having a day job. And then essentially, right, I just had to work at nights. I had to go to nightclubs and tell jokes. But I had my whole days for free. And I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have kids at the time. And I just got obsessed with all of this stuff. And so I was just that guy. I was the guy, just.
Stewart called that shit. He's doing like the whole appeal. He's like, I'm just like you. I understand. Like, this guy's using a manipulation through and through. Like, how are people not, like, if people are like watching this and they're like, Dave Smith's one of the boys, it's like, dude, how is this working on you? This guy is a multi-millionaire LARPing as a working class individual. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Being weird and reading all this stuff, and then
like he's telling us he made enough money to where, like, his dead broke was probably like $150,000 a year. He couldn't like do whatever the fuck he wanted, but he made enough money playing clubs and stuff that he could start researching these heavy topics and get into philosophy and like political science, but never went to college for it or anything like that, I guess. Like, he could have, got a PhD or something, or done something with it other than make a podcast complaining about conspiracy theories.
Going to nightclubs and doing stand-up. And this is all really before, like, the podcast revolution. And then once the, podcasting just became so big, it was just like the next logical progression. It was like, oh, start talking about this on shows. And then years of doing that. I think I started in 2011 or 2012 podcasting. And then over the years, it just, little by little kind of picked up. And becoming friends with Joe Rogan is really helpful in this business, I've found.
So it sounds like Ron Paul was very important to your evolution.
Dude, he's like one of the most featured people on Joe Rogan. This guy is only somebody because of Joe Rogan. That's scary, dude. Joe Rogan, I'll hug you. Yeah, Moking. Yeah, dude. It's all a LARP, dude. It's all pretend, man. This is crazy. I'm starting to believe the dead internet theory. Like I'm not real. I don't exist. Who am I gonna be? Sorry.
What do you think are the most important things that Ron Paul got right?
So I guess the big one, right, like in the Giuliani moment, was really him tearing down the lie, the propaganda, which dominated, like right after 9/11, which was the idea that the terrorists hate us for our freedom, and they hate our goodness. And
Joe Rogan, who couldn't, yeah, dude, he was so happy to get off Ren. It's so weird, dude. He's supposed to be like all in art and stuff. He's just becoming a fucking average Texan, dude. Joe Rogan had Republican in his blood this whole time. No one knew it.
and our wonderfulness or something like that. I like they would never like really exactly spell out what it was about our freedom, but like you're supposed to imagine that they're all motivated by like, I don't know, women in miniskirts or something like that, or our right to free speech. And he was like, well, look, like that, there is a whole other huge element to this here that actually drives this conflict. And that's that they hate us for what we're doing over there, and that there are real grievances they have with America's foreign policy. And here they are.
My favorite thing about Dave Smith is that you can just do the Hassan treatment to him. His foreign policy is Hassan's foreign policy. Everything America does, bad. America bad, America bad, America bad. You know what I mean? That's all it's gonna be, dude. He's just gonna America bad. America has caused every major issue. America is single-handedly the Illuminati. They control Hollywood. That's why he couldn't blow up until Joe Rogan broke the spear and he shattered the dome, and Joe Rogan is fighting for all of us, and they're going to take it to the Hollywood elites that made all of their careers like nothing. Never mind the fact that Joe Rogan was sometimes funny. Like, he wasn't like the funniest stand-up comedian. He can get some chuckles from me from time to time, but like this motherfucker wasn't like Dave Chappelle. Like, no one knew Joe Rogan for his fucking comedy. They knew him because his podcast felt authentic at one point, and he was the first one in it, and COVID fucking happened, dude.
And let's really examine those and think about, what is this worth it? Is this the right thing to be doing? Is this, productive for America? Is this moral? And I think that by it, like, you have to almost like put yourself back in 2007. Like, this is still during the George W. Bush administration. And there was, for someone like me, I had heard, say, like, liberals who were against the war, but I had never really heard anyone break it down like that. And there was something about it that kind of like, it was almost like a portal where it allowed you to access a perspective from outside of the American empire. And I remember there was something about that was really, I thought, like, profound to me, that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, there's another perspective about the American empire from outside it, and they've got some real problems with this thing. And I found that to be very interesting. The other big thing was he really introduced the topic of the Federal Reserve. Almost nobody else was talking about it. I really, like, I don't think I knew what the Federal Reserve was until I heard Ron Paul talking about it. I think if you had asked me, I would have been like, I guess they have some money put away somewhere, and like the federal government keeps reserves of something. I don't think I even knew.
There's no
and
way.
Once I started like reading about,
dude, they teach you about the Federal Reserve. Matter of fact, that's one of the memories I have of high school, is writing in a book over the word reserve and then spelling it in high school. Yeah, dude, what the fuck? They teach you about that? Like, how are you were so dumb? You know what the Federal Reserve was?
How the Federal Reserve actually works. It's like, I was just blown away that how did no one ever tell me this? How was this never like taught to me in school? How, and so that I thought was.
It was, dude. It's not everyone else's fault that you were doing drugs and getting your dick sucked behind the bleachers by some airheaded fucking bitch. Like, what the fuck? No, I'm sorry. He was a Jewish kid. He probably grew up getting bullied. He was probably like a band geek or something. You know what I mean?
Was very interesting. And then I think, aside from that, just being like the truest public champion of free market economics, generally speaking. I mean,
see, like, we haven't even got to the actual point of the debate. He's still just, he's just like, this is what they do. Like, so the reason why this had to be a 3-hour debate is because Dave's, like, Coleman Hughes is probably like, I actually want to have a conversation. This is what you do. You go in, you throw out these sound bites that just sound good in generalities. They can be passed as fake news. And then you throw it out and be like, Dave Smith is searching for the truth. Tune in this week on, like, whatever, bro. Like, it's poop, dude. Like, you didn't have to say all of that. You could have just said, here's my opinion about the situation. Why are we, like, 8 minutes into a monologue about how dope you are?
Ron Paul was so hardcore free market that, like, he made, you know, like, he made Milton Friedman look like a socialist. Like, he was just, and he really, I think was like the only, or the most prominent public advocate of.
Yeah, you see that, dude? He was like, let me just appear to be deep in thought. The most prominent, like, get the fuck. He's just acting, dude.
True, like, peace and laissez-faire free markets. And it seemed to me to be the only one who really had the courage of his convictions.
Dude, Coleman looks like he is bored out of his mind, which is fucking crazy because it's Coleman goddamn Hughes. He looks bored out of his mind normally. How did you bore Coleman fucking Hughes, dude? What? I've never seen him look so depressed in my life. His dog just died or some shit, dude. He's got a PTSD flashback. Holy fuck, dude. This is the face of a man that just sat through hell. God damn. Sorry.
As far as those ideas were concerned.
Okay, so let's take both of those. One is the sort of why they hate us question. And the second one is the Federal Reserve question. Because I think I'm going to try to follow Rappaport's rules, say where I agree first, and then tell you where I disagree and why I disagree.
Sure.
So when it comes to why, say, Al-Qaeda hated us, I agree they didn't hate us because of our freedom, right? That is a line that does very well with Americans in a...
Yeah, just like everything Dave Smith just fucking said, by the way. That's like in the same vein, right? Al-Qaeda hates us because they hate freedom. No, they have a different ideology, you know? But like Dave Smith was like, I'm a everyday hardworking, you know, comedian that broke the mold. And you could do, like, he's selling you a self-help book while also like saying, don't criticize me too hard because what are we doing? There's a genocide going on. Like, oh, he's doing it all, man.
Political context because we love freedom. But it's also not true that they hate us because of foreign policy grievances that would make sense to say in a secular context. In other words, when Al-Qaeda writes its declaration of war on the United States for occupying the Holy Land, what it's complaining about, its main grievance, its main grievance, as evidenced by the fact that it's in the title and dominates the text, as you know, is that we had troops in Saudi Arabia that were there at the invitation of the Saudi government and stayed there for several years with permission from the Saudi government because they were afraid that Saddam might invade Saudi Arabia. Now, the only way that this is a legitimate grievance is if you add the special ingredient of radical Salafi Islam, which says that Christian crusader troops can't be near the holy sites. And by analogy, you imagine a situation like South Korea, where we were invited to put our troops over there during the Korean War. We fought a war. We've kept tens of thousands of troops there for much longer than Saudi Arabia. But there's no South Korean group flying planes into our buildings because they don't have that extra ingredient necessary, which is there's no Korean religion which says American troops can't be in Seoul. So this would be my core critique.
Fuck. I agree with that. But that's just because I'm anti-religious. Fuck. Damn it.
Critique of the idea that they hate us for as Sam Harris would say, terrestrial grievances.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things on that. I mean, number one, like the comparison, say, to like South Korea is just it's really not a one-to-one comparison. I mean, there's a difference between having like
Okay, so far off to a good start. He acknowledges that he made a comparison because before he couldn't even get to a hypothetical. Now, he has to say that it's not comparable, but now he has to explain to us why it's not comparable and what makes one of these more significant than the other. Challenge accepted, Dave.
having a military presence as we do in Germany or in South Korea or in Japan or something like that, where you have these are democracies. These are Western countries that again, I'm not like defending modern nation states or democracy or anything like that, but there is at least somewhat of a free market, somewhat of a democratic situation. The people like participate to some degree in their government. I don't exactly believe that, but at least that's the way the thing is sold. What you're talking about in Saudi Arabia was using military bases. The purpose of the military bases there was for the bombing and blockade campaign against Iraq. And bin Laden, in that letter that you're talking about, laid this out very clearly. Now, I'm certainly not arguing with you that there is like no effect that Islam has on the way that, say, bin Laden or his men were thinking about these things. But if you're talking about, and there's been many books written on this, but if you're talking about like what actually gets people to sign up to give their life and go kill other people, it's almost always the result of where, like, it almost always comes from a situation where your recruiting shtick, if you're bin Laden trying to get suicide bombers, is to point at all the innocent people who have been killed by this group that you're going after. In fact, even our own FBI, when they do these stings.
What is he saying here? Why is he floundering this so hard? You do this for a living, dude. You do nothing but talk about this one issue. What the fuck?
In South Korea or in Japan or something like that, where you have these are democracies. These are Western countries that again, I'm not like defending modern nation states or democracy or anything like that, but there is at least somewhat of a free market, somewhat of a democratic situation.
How does that answer the question? So Saudi Arabia asked us to stay there for a particular reason, to protect them from, like Coleman said, I can't remember what it was, because you droned on for so fucking long. So we were requested to be there by like the government of that fucking state. Like, how does this answer the question? Because they're a democracy? And then you don't believe that it's a democracy? Okay. But that doesn't answer anything.
People like participate to some degree in their government. I don't exactly believe that, but at least that's the way the thing is sold. What you're talking about in Saudi Arabia was using military bases. The purpose of the military bases there was for the bombing and blockade campaign against Iraq. And bin Laden, in that letter that you're talking about, laid this out very clearly. Now, I'm certainly not arguing with you that there is like no effect that.
Okay, let's go back to Coleman. Hold on.
Fact that it's in the title and dominates the text, as you know, is that we had troops in Saudi Arabia that were there at the invitation of the Saudi government and stayed there for several years with permission from the Saudi government because they were afraid that Saddam might invade Saudi Arabia. Now,
So the Saudi Arabia government asked us to put a military base there. And because we're good allies with Saudi Arabia and they gave us a lot of money and it's paid off quite well in the long term, made us a shit ton of money. Like, what is he saying here? They were afraid they were going to get attacked. What, because Saudi Arabia is not a democracy, that like the government, we don't listen to the request of our allied nations? Especially when it directly benefits us? What? He's like, because we use that position to attack people? That's why we're there. What the fuck? How is this?
Say to like South Korea is just, it's really not a one-to-one comparison. I mean, there's a difference between having a military presence as we do in Germany or in South Korea or in Japan or something like that, where you have these are democracies. These are Western countries that again, I'm not like defending modern nation states or democracy or anything like that, but there is at least somewhat of a free market, somewhat of a democratic situation. The people like participate to some degree in their government. I don't exactly believe that, but at least that's the way the thing is sold.
Why are you so bad at relaying information, dude?
What you're talking about in Saudi Arabia was using military bases. The purpose of the military bases there was for the bombing and blockade campaign against Iraq. And bin Laden, in that letter that you're talking about, laid this out very clearly. Now, I'm certainly not arguing with you that there is like no effect that Islam has on the way that, say, bin Laden or his men were thinking about these things. But if you're talking about, and there's been many books written on this, but if you're talking about like what actually gets people to sign up to give their life and go kill other people, it's almost always the result of where, like, it almost always comes from a situation where your recruiting shtick, if you're bin Laden trying to get suicide bombers, is to point at all the innocent people who have been killed by this group that you're going after. In fact, even our own FBI, when they do these sting...
See, he doesn't want us to name religion because he's on his, like, I'm a Christian now arc. Coleman Hughes asked you specifically, and he had a specific statement that, you know, we actually fought a war in Korea. We killed people in Korea. We don't have like Korean planes doing like jihad strikes and suicide bombs and, you know, stuff. He's asking you a criticism of essentially the overbearingness of like the orthodoxy in Islam, to where it's okay to like sacrifice and kill yourself in the name of your religion, because there's a positive note there and there shouldn't be one there. Like even in Christianity now, if you were to kill yourself in the name of God, God would renounce you. You need to value the life that he gave you. A failure to do so is blasphemy. This should be an easy answer and critique for him to say, yeah, no, I agree. But he can't do that because Israel always has to be bad. Okay.
/ entrapment runs, what they've done dozens of since 9/11. That's always what they go to them with. Aren't you pissed off about American foreign policy? Don't you have all these grievances about what they do over there? And so, yes.
That's literally what you're doing right now in this debate, dipshit. What?
Of course, these were radical Islamists, and so everything is filtered through that worldview. And I have no like desire to absolve Islam of any problems that it has. Certainly not radical Islam. But look, at the end of all of that, what you're still left with is that they do not want our troops in the Arabian Peninsula. They do not want our bases in Saudi Arabia. And it's a fair enough question, even if you're going to say it's some combination of the two, to say, well, why exactly do we need to have those bases there? Why is that? Is that worth the price of dealing with this terrorism issue? And you know, even if Saudi Arabia was concerned that Saddam Hussein was going to invade the country, are there other ways that we could give Saudi Arabia some security guarantees? Are there other ways?
How do you give a security guarantee without a presence, dipshit? A military base is the easiest option. That means we can respond then and there.
Do we really need to be slaughtering Iraqis in a non-war period? So
I believe that to be 100%, Pixie. I think that might be why AI and stuff like that scares us, because it makes us question our uniqueness. I kind of like the conundrum.
again, look, there's, and by the way, it's not just the military bases. There's a long list of grievances that they have, some that are completely incoherent and just not justified. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the element of it's the element of American domination over the region that I think is pretty predictably going to lead to resistance.
So a few things. One, I would say you drew a distinction between a democracy on one hand, like a democracy we have our troops in, and a non-democracy. South Korea wasn't a democracy for a very long time, so I would just point that out.
Fair enough.
What I'm arguing,
they may not be anymore, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what I'm arguing is more than that. This gets filtered through Islamism. I think the equation, if we were to make a recipe of what makes a terrorist group like Al-Qaeda tick, it has to have all the ingredients. It has to have these grievances, but it also has to have a jihadi ideology that we are not responsible for, well, right? Because otherwise,
yes, man. It's okay to call out the radical terrorist with the radical religious extremes. That's okay. You can just say that's bad. It's not. You don't have to run defense for it. Don't do that. Stop defending terrorists. We can defend what the terrorists believe and fight for. You know what I mean? But we don't have to be cool with the violence, man.
Otherwise, the behavior just doesn't make any sense, right? Like another one of their grievances was that we allowed Bosnian Muslims to die for too long in the 90s, right? i.e. that we didn't intervene soon enough. Mm-hmm. Now, all over the world, we don't intervene soon enough. We didn't intervene in Rwanda soon enough. We didn't intervene in Liberia soon enough. We could have saved, in many of these cases, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives, but we don't have Rwandan terrorists flying planes into our buildings. We don't have Liberians blowing up embassies. And so there has to be this additional variable that is the lens through which they interpret all of these foreign policy decisions.
Well, so are you saying that okay, so like as I had already mentioned, yes, I don't think all of the grievances are legitimate. That certainly was one that isn't legitimate. But there were several other that I think are. But is what exactly, when you're saying they need to have this Muslim element to it as well, in order for what? Like in order to do terrorism?
Yeah, to justify killing civilians on the basis of these other things. In other words,
I mean, I don't know. There were Irish terrorists, there were Jewish terrorists, of course, as you know, in the lead up to the creation of the State of Israel. There's been terrorists.
Right, but those were local ethnic disputes between the Irish and the British, between the Jewish and the Palestinians. What justifies going abroad, flying planes into buildings thousands of miles away, except for the fact that they interpret all of these foreign policy actions that we do everywhere? We station troops in South Korea. They don't fly into our buildings, right?
Yeah,
they
don't have
that. God damn, Coleman will not lift the boot. Oh, I'm gonna come, girl. This is This is tasty. Oh my god, dude. This is too delectable. Like, so delectable.
That
Additional
doesn't,
religious element.
it doesn't really prove anything. Like, if you were going to say, if there's, let's say there was like a husband, he comes home, his wife is in bed with another man, he pulls out his gun, he murders both of them. And you were to say, I think the motivating factor here is that she was having an affair, cheating on him. And then you were to say, well, I know another situation where a guy was being cheated on and he didn't murder both of them. Like, okay, that still doesn't prove that that's not the motivating factor here. And it doesn't even prove that there's any needed extra element other than sometimes it goes this way and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, but that goes against your own argument, dipshit. Like, we're only seeing it in one way. So clearly, we have to look at the external factor. This is how you interpret data. When there's something that goes outside the norm, we find out why it went outside the norm. What's replicating to go outside the norm. And if there's a consistent thread, you're like, hold on. What's going on at the root of this? Why is this one out? You know? So we're asking you to say the Islam religion has kind of some bad stuff in it sometimes. That's all you got to say. That's all you got to say.
But the idea of like, I mean, if we're just playing out this hypothetical, if you put the shoe on the other foot and you imagine that China, no, let's just say like China had overthrown our government and propped up a dictator and then started, occupying us or putting military bases in America, I think there'd be some Americans who would be grabbing their guns and they would become terrorists in the eyes of this new ruling regime. And I bet they'd be screaming about Jesus while.
So if you're gonna make you just said it. You just said I support revolution and you support terrorism. You just use that as a justification on this side. We all already know that if this was done on a personal level, that we would react probably in the same way. That's not what the conversation is about. This is akin to an ad hom. You're saying, well, personally on this one particular thing, I'm going to do the same thing that all people will do. Okay, but that's not the core of what we're talking about. This is an obfuscation as clear as day. This is crazy.
they did it. So I don't actually think that's right. The Irish became terrorists against the British because they were the ones who they had a beef with. Now,
yeah, so he's going to look at it from like a fucking very singular lens, from an oppressor and an oppressee fucking hierarchy. That's all it is. Whoever's resisting the power is a terrorist, which technically, if you want to get a super rudimentary, is to some extent true. But it's way more complicated than that, man. And we should try to have truth at the center point of all of that. Like, we can admit when terrorism does good things and when it does bad things. Well, definitionally, if it's terrorism, depending on who's applying that definition, that could be redefined. But you gotta do the legwork to redefine it.
if you're saying, well, why do they come halfway around the world, as if that's some huge different factor? It's like, oh, because I guess America is the world empire and we are really the final sovereign over all of this area. And there are airplanes now. So I don't think there's anything, like, again, I'm not trying to absolve Islam of any responsibility that they might have. Might have.
But you're literally running defense for him by just not saying it's dog shit sometimes. It has dog shit elements. All you have to say is, like, Islam needs to go through a reformation, much like Christianity did, where we can fine-tune it and hopefully remove jihadism, or the being a jihadist portion, whatever the fuck it's called, from the actual book. Like, that's all you have to do. That's it. Oh, boom. The religion is now fixed. There you go. There you go. Make it value life. That's it. Boom. Boom.
I think we're losing contact with with these analogies, because we're talking about a situation where mostly Saudis
I just want to kiss him on the forehead, dude. I know that doesn't sound straight at all, but like he's so soft spoken, and he just refocused the fuck out of that after Dave meandered for like what felt like a lot. I feel like I've grown a year older listening to Dave answer a single question. I do not know how people listen to him at all. Wild.
Flew planes into our buildings, and we had the permission of the Saudi government to be there, right? So we're not talking about a situation where we overthrew the regime in Saudi Arabia and now the Saudis are pissed. We're talking about a situation where we had every right and the invitation of the Saudi regime, and there's this terrorist veto. And I guess one of my questions to you is that if we live in a system of nation states, if the whole, liberal international order is to work, it has to mean that we can't take the veto of a terrorist organization within a country to mean more than the word of the head of state that says, actually, we have an agreement. They want us to be here. The king of your country wants us to be here. We have his permission. You don't get to veto us being here by killing civilians.
Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, you're right. We're mixing up things here a little bit. Yeah. No, I'm not claiming that America overthrew the government of Saudi Arabia. I guess it's just the point I'm making is we're getting into like whether radical Islam, how much of a necessary ingredient that.
The reason why he fucked up there was because he's used to dialogue trees, so now he's gonna have to think. Let's see exactly what has to happen here.
Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, you're right. We're mixing up things here a little bit. Yeah. No, I'm not claiming that America overthrew the government of Saudi Arabia.
Even when he compliments, yeah, you're right. And then he goes into, we're mixing up things here. No, dude, you are. You're the one trying to obfuscate. It's not working. And now you're trying to pretend like it's a rough interview or something. No, dude, you're just incapable of answering basic questions.
Yeah, I guess it's just the point I'm making is we're getting into like whether radical Islam, how much of a necessary ingredient that really is. And so I was just saying, like, imagine some faraway power overthrew our government. But yeah, we did overthrow the government of Iran, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Somalia, Yemen,
Has nothing to do with this question.
We've done quite a bit of overthrowing governments in that.
Has nothing to do with this question, dipshit.
Portion of the region, many in the last few decades. And so, look, I mean, to say that you have, I don't exactly know, like, where, like, at least the claim, like, I'm a radical libertarian here, man. So I really don't believe in much of government being legitimate at all. But the idea that, like, I think the general view of things is that we view the legitimacy of government as being derived from the people, that I don't think actually makes sense.
Okay, none of this has to do with, he's just now running defense for a terrorist organization attacking a sovereign country. Again, that's cool. Cool. Reminder. Dog eats dog world, you know what I mean? We shouldn't have governments. If someone wants to do whatever they want to you, they can just do that because Dave Smith says so.
Any sense, but that's kind of the belief in the Western world. I don't know what the invitation of the Saudi government means in terms of legitimacy. So we have a right to be there. Yes, the dictatorship that we prop up and keep in power allowed us to be there. So I guess that's true. No, I'm not suggesting that terrorists should get a veto. If we are doing something that is moral, that is correct, and that is within the interest of the United States of America, and that comes with the price that terrorists are going to be mad at us and want to attack us, well then, I don't think we should just allow them to bully us out of doing that. In other words, if the terrorists actually had a problem with the fact...
Now he's just saying something we all already agree with. The problem is none of us agree on where that line for morality is. We don't know what you consider immoral. We're asking you to clarify things. And now you're obfuscating again instead of just responding to a fucking question.
Fact that America is just such a darn free place, and wanted to attack us for that, well, then we got to fight them. Like, screw that. We're not going to allow terrorists to have veto power over what we do. The point, I think, is that if you recognize that this policy comes...
And he talked earlier about seeing outside of particular perspectives. What, the government that exists in Saudi Arabia, though it might have had a lucrative business agreement with America, and America might have propped that government up, I mean, don't they have the interest to be there as well? Like, why aren't you looking at it through their perspective? What's the point of doing business with America if you don't call in the fucking favors, bro? If you have a favor, you got to use it, man.
With the cost of these people hating you so much, maybe we should re-examine this policy. And we can sit here and say, look, like in the same sense that if you know, like all the propaganda that Joseph Stalin used to put out about how racist America was, you know, which he loved that. And he would put out all his propaganda about how horrible black people were treated in the South in America. And
They were, though. Are you? There's no way. Hey, Nikki, thank you. I love you, Nikki. There's no way he's about to say there wasn't a lot of racism in the South. There's no way.
And, you know, now, any of us could look at this and be like, okay, the biggest hypocrite in the world, Joseph Stalin, like you care about human rights or something like that. But that at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't go, you know what? It is actually pretty messed up the way we're treating black people in America. Like maybe we ought to examine that. That's not me giving Stalin veto power over American policy. It's just pointing out that number one, like if you were in the Cold War space, you're giving them a giant propaganda talking point here. And it's also a bad policy. It's wrong what you're doing. So yeah, you should stop that. I've heard it argued by some, I'm not exactly sure if this is true, but that actually had a big, like that was a big part of the civil rights movement and getting like the national security apparatus on board with it because they wanted to plug up that hole in the propaganda war. I'm not sure if that's right or not. But the point is that, no, I'm not saying the terrorists get a veto over it.
I don't think that's right. I think that was a very minor factor in my opinion.
Yeah, that might be right. I'm really honestly not.
Yeah, that was pretty insensitive to say. Did you see how mad he got right there? I've never seen Coleman react so quick. He's like, God damn!
Propaganda war. I'm not sure if that's right or not. But the point is that, no, I'm not saying the terrorists get a veto over it.
I don't think that's right. I think that was a very minor factor in my opinion.
Yeah, that might be right. I'm really honestly not sure about it. I've heard it argued before. But regardless, there certainly were people who wanted to plug up that hole in the propaganda war. Not saying that that's what percentage, you know, that had to do with it actually going through. But I would say that I'm not suggesting bin Laden get to dictate our policy. I'm saying that when bin Laden states his list of grievances, and they are, you have your military bases in our Holy Land. You prop up Israel, who mistreats the Palestinians. You've been slaughtering children in Iraq for the last, I guess, decade at that point. And whatever, go through. You prop up brutal dictators in the region.
We didn't intervene soon enough in Bosnia.
Right, I'm
so
saying that one I don't. Yeah,
they're not
but
anti-U.S. military intervention. They just want it specifically prescribed in their.
Yes, but I'm not a bin Ladenite. I'm not coming on here to tell you that I think he was. No. But I'm not saying he was right about everything, and I'm not claiming that bin Laden was a non-interventionist libertarian like myself. I'm saying I, as an American who cares about this country remaining free and prosperous and safe, I can look at this list of grievances and say, yeah, Coleman, that one about us not intervening enough is complete nonsense. The one about us killing a whole bunch of Iraqi kids, he's got a point on that.
So
the one about us propping up
Israel.
What
I want to say, Dave.
Well, let me just real quickly, I'll just end this very quickly. It goes, this is kind of the whole spirit of George Washington's farewell speech. That it's like, look, you get involved in all these entangling alliances, and it causes nothing but disaster for your own country. So yes, I think it's reasonable to look at some of those grievances and go, we should have no part in any of this.
So. A few things, and then I want to move on to Ron Paul's other big pillar. You said the big awakening for you was this Ron Paul thing of why they hate us, and I'm really addressing myself to that point very simply. If Al Qaeda did not believe in a Salafist extreme Islamist ideology, which is the most radical corner of Sunni Islam. I'm not saying it's all of Islam, not even most of it. Take away that one ingredient, we could do everything else the same in the Middle East as we had done, overthrowing, backing the overthrow of Iran, the tough sanctions on Saddam Hussein, which caused a humanitarian crisis, putting our troops in Saudi Arabia, and they would not have flown planes into our buildings. That is my claim. That's my claim. And I think, and I'm addressing myself to this question of why they hate us. I agree with you. It's not they hate us for our freedoms. It's that they hate us because they have a very powerful ideology, which makes them prejudge any actions by what they consider to be non-Muslim, Christian crusader, etc. And to me, it's crucial to understand if this issue of why they...
Bro, following along in a debate when you're baked as fuck is a challenge within itself, man. My heart is pounding right now. So this is Coleman. He's just restating his initial question because we just went through 29 minutes of nothing. This is like all conversations with Dave Smith.
They hate us, in fact, is important. And I'm not sure, I don't think that we can live with, I don't think the world, I don't just mean America, I don't think the world can live with a foreign policy that factors in the worst, most destabilizing elements of other societies, right? Because the Saudi regime, complain about their human rights all you want, and obviously one can write a book, and books have been written on that. They have a much better chance of ruling Saudi Arabia and ruling it in a way so that the people flourish than the Bin Ladenites. And if it were the case that in Korea with our troops there, if there was some Korean terrorist group that said we can't have these Americans on sacred Korean soil anymore, it would not make sense to listen to that terror group over the Korean government and risk taking away our deterrence and make our foreign policy basis on that decision when the Korean government is trying to get rid of these groups anyway in order to create flourishing societies. So I think we have to be on the side of the elements in these societies, these developing societies.
At the end of the day, he's making an establishment argument. He's making an anti-establishment argument. That's all it comes down to. And every libertarian, no matter what happens, this is why libertarianism is so stupid. Because at the end of the day, once you overthrow the government and you have a government, like you have a society, you'll just create a new government. Everything evolves naturally into hierarchies. It's just the way it works.
Societies.
Like, for example, if you're like, all right, well, we just overthrew the government. Who's doing what? And then the people are going to be like, I don't know, dude. What the fuck? Okay, well, we're going to need food. Who's good at growing food? And then they're going to be like, I'm a farmer. Okay, I'd be like, all right, well, that guy grows food. And then the next guy go, oh, okay, well, I don't smoke weed, and I wish I was completely faded right now. Like, who's gonna, like, you know, mill the clothes and watch the kids, and you know, it evolves into a natural thing, and then eventually you need someone to oversee it all because people's interests don't always, you know, coincide. So then eventually you make a mayor, and then a mayor, eventually, you know, the towns get so big, people start offshooting like a fucking virus, and then people start spider webbing all around. That's why libertarians just are ridiculous. Like, no rules whatsoever. And it's like, all right, cool. We have no rules now. What's up? Like, anarcho fucking pure libertarianism is fucking bad shit.
That are trying to haltingly and with with many foibles bring their countries forward and make their countries prosperous. Yeah. Okay, last word, and then let's get to the other pillar.
Yeah, I guess I just am fundamentally unconvinced by this assertion that Islam is this necessary ingredient. I mean, there's been...
Then why are you unconvinced? Bitch tits.
Convinced by this assertion that Islam is this necessary ingredient. I mean, there's been...
Radical Salafi Islam. I just want to be very precise.
Well, I don't know. The Iranians seem to have a lot of resentment toward us for overthrowing their government.
Oh, by the way, sorry, just to clarify, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What I mean, any ideology, which many ideologies could fit this hole. It's not only radical Sunni Islam. Other
I don't think
ideologies
it's only.
could fit.
I don't think it's only Islam. To be honest, I mean,
Yeah,
look,
correct.
violence is used all the time, and groups who are oppressed violently often use violence in retaliation. We had slave revolts in this country that were incredibly violent. There's been all types of violence used by every major religion, maybe not every minor one, but every major religion for sure. I just don't agree with that at all. I think that the obvious element that
That's not what he's asking you. He's asking you, why is it that we can do all of the same things to people in other countries like we do in the Middle East? And why is it only the Middle East flies people into buildings? He's asking you to point out the difference there, because he can only see one strand that offsets the rest of the tapestry. He's like, this is not correct. Now it's up to you to answer said question, and you always go about it like, well, what you're saying is, he's asking you, dude.
when missing,
What's up, Tracy?
none of this would happen, is America's domination and killing of innocent people in this part of the world. When the King Crane Commission went to Syria after World War I, and they held this huge polling apparatus that tens of thousands of people were interviewed, and they overwhelmingly voted that they wanted America to rule over Syria in a League of Nations mandate. And the reason it's really the opposite of what the George W. Bush administration said. It's not, they don't hate us for our freedom. They actually kind of
I'm wasted. Carry on. Damn, girl. Damn.
loved us for our freedom. They viewed America as the good guys. America were the ones, the city on a hill, who were all about liberty. They hated the British and they hated the French. Why is that? Well, because they were dominating them. It's like the most natural human tendency on earth to hate the people who dominate you and violently oppress you. And it's quite often the case that people embrace violence in response. I don't think that's unique to Islam. I think that's more of a thing that brings us all together. I don't mean to be such an egalitarian on your show here. I assure you I'm not one. But I think that...
Really? Most other religions have it written and codified into their way of religion that life is supposed to be like a holy thing. We're asking you to contest with this one point. Today is politics day, girly. What's up?
That is one of the things that humans have in common. So I just don't see it. Violence, I think that violence... We like to distinguish between terrorism and counterterrorism, but that's really usually not much of a distinction, or at least there's usually not a very objective definition for it. Israel is quite comfortable using lots of violence right now. They're quite comfortable killing a building full of innocent people to get a guy that they don't like. And, there's been acts of terrorism. Some argue Israel introduced terrorism into the Israeli Zionist settlers introduced terrorism into the region. I don't think it's something that's unique to Islam. And I don't think...
I like how he can just you can argue like a conspiracy theory that he's heard of. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm not, this video is going to kill me, dude. I might actually die.
Yeah, okay, I essentially do agree with your point that most of these dictators in the in the Middle East are preferable to the bin Ladenite, head choppers. I agree with you. And in fact, I've been very critical of our foreign policy for siding with the bin Ladenite head choppers in Libya, Syria, Yemen, and I guess not in Iraq, but next door in Syria. So yeah, I certainly don't think we should be backing the bin Ladenites either. But that it's not a choice between do we prop up brutal dictators or do we back the bin Ladenites who oppose them, which seems to be the binary choice that the American foreign policy...
It is that fucking binary, dude. This is how America operates. It's always how America operates. We back the choice that best benefits us at the time. So simple. That's how everyone should weigh a majority of their options. Gotta be in the moment. You gotta think about it. What's good for you right now? That's the play you make. It's not complicated. This isn't complicated. We've overthrown governments before through light pressure. Ooh, girl.
Policy establishment has been working within, but there is a third option there, which is that we don't have to do any of this. It's not in our national interest. It leads to horrific outcomes. We get nothing out of it. And it was never, and it's also just completely unconstitutional. It's not at all what our government was formed to be. We're not supposed to be the world empire. We're supposed to be a limited constitutional republic. And the people never got a vote on this. There was never a referendum on do we want to become a world empire. And in fact, if you look down the track list of American elections, the anti-war candidate seems to win just about every single time. If you run back the presidential elections, who was the more anti-war? Was it Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? Or at least was perceived as more anti-war. It was Donald Trump. He wins. Him or Hillary Clinton? Trump. He wins. Obama destroys McCain. George W. Bush in the year 2000 ran on a humble foreign policy, no nation building. And it's like, I don't think the American people want this. And I think if we ever actually, and I don't think it's good for the country. So I'll wrap on that.
Okay, so let's move on.
Jesus, man, that was ass. He lives in quotes and in fiction. It's so wild, man. It's so wild.
So this other idea of Ron Paul's is that the economy and the military are linked, right? The economic problems we experience, the inflation, the debt, and so forth, is linked to military spending. Now, my question here is, obviously that story was true of World War II and Vietnam, and you can just look at the numbers, look at the inflation that happens as a direct result of money printing for wars. But in the past 40, 50 years, right, Reagan, he expands the military budget, and inflation goes down. We fight these wars in the Middle East starting in 2001 through the financial crisis. Inflation is in normal rates. It's at between 1% and 3%. This story that I think you believe, and Ron Paul certainly believes, seems like a true critique that is 50 years out of date. And I don't blame Ron Paul for that, because he's of the age where he would have opinions that are 50 years out of date. But what do you find compelling about?
Nikki, I bet you your burnt cookies are the best cookies, bro. Well, maybe just after Kia's, because she hasn't made cookies yet, but I'm kind of excited, dude. Kind of excited. No, I'm sorry.
About this idea?
Well, I don't think that it's out of date at all. I think it completely applies. It applies even better to the last 20 years. There's a real problem with measuring inflation by the CPI. And I think even today, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but if you were taking if you were trying to get your Series 7 or your...
I will leave you with this. Eating a packet of cheese and onion crisps. Known people won't smell your cheesy breath is kind of like this. Yo, I do be cheesy sometimes. Yeah, I'm cheesy as hell, bro. But also, cheese is one of the greatest things to ever, dude. God damn.
Series 63 license to go sell stocks.
I ain't gonna lie, dude. If you left a brick of cheese unattended around me, and I knew you weren't gonna be around for an hour, cheese goes good with donairs. Yeah, man. Dude, just a dude, I could just go to a store, give me a brick of cheese, and just pound on that fucker all day, dude. I get it down in about 20 minutes, the whole thing. Now you want the cheese, man? If SpongeBob was real, I'd eat his ass, bro. If he was cheese, oh my god, dude.
and bonds, and they asked you on the test for your license, is inflation if it was like a multiple choice and they were like, inflation is rising prices, you will get that wrong. That's not what inflation is. Inflation is an increase in the money supply. It's more money chasing fewer goods. And so if you want to measure, say, the prices going up, the problem with that is that there's just, like with anything else, there's a lot of factors going into it. So like, for example, if you raise the minimum wage in a state and
I shouldn't have cheese, man. But I've eaten so much cheese before where, dude, I'm just down to like one shit a week, bro. That shit's wild, dude. That's how you know you was on a good one. Sheesh. Gross.
unemployment goes down, that doesn't prove that raising the minimum wage lowers unemployment, because it might be that 3 new factories came and opened up in your state, and that's why employment went down. So there's lots of factors leading into why prices go up or prices go down. But the point is, it's still inflationary. So like, in other words, right, if let's say you had an economy where...
So it's inflationary, but you can't see it. Got it. And you can't trace it. Got it. It's all just vibes and feelings.
You were about to go through a steep recession, and prices were going to drop by 50%. There was going to be a massive deflationary event. And then the government just like doubled or tripled the money supply. And so prices didn't change at all. Now, you could sit there and say the CPI didn't change at all.
I get that it's multi-causal.
But that infusion of cash still created a huge amount of inflation there. So no, it's not a theory that war spending, drives the debt. It's a fact. They're spending trillions and trillions of dollars, and this is all being added to the national debt.
How important can that fact be? If America, with all of its excess, massive military spending compared to, say, Europe, has the same long-run inflation rates as all these European countries, and pretty much the same debt to GDP ratio, it doesn't. It's not a one-to-one correlation. Obviously, all of these economies are complicated, but it does undermine the idea that the military is the difference between Western Europe spending 1.5 of GDP on their military and America spending 4% of GDP on our military is showing up at the grocery store in any way that a person could actually detect.
No, again, that's just not right. I mean, it's not the case that, like, if you're getting drunk and getting behind the wheel of your car and you go, oh, but my neighbor's shooting up heroin and getting behind the wheel of his car, and it seems like we have the same outcome.
Why do we have the same long-run inflation rates as all these European countries that don't have empires?
Typically speaking, they've embraced more generous welfare states than we have. They have big government of a different variety, and that also requires money printing. And we also kind of act, at least to some degree, in uniform. I mean, the central banks of Europe and the United States of America do, coordinate quite a bit together. But yes, you're right. It is absolutely the case that America has embraced more of the militaristic big government, whereas the European countries have embraced more
and even in the case of America, our spending is 1 part military, 3, 4, 5 part welfare states. So
100%.
So it's okay,
yeah, they're all huge. They're all huge drivers of this. But like, look, and I'm as against the welfare state as anybody you've ever talked to, Coleman. Like, I can assure you that. But there is a difference between paying for grandma's hip surgery.
Like, we could reduce military spending to 0 tomorrow, and we would still every year be increasing the debt to GDP ratio in this country. So to me, the idea of focusing on it is like a firefly to the sun. If we're talking about issues like in inflation and the debt.
Yeah, my boy. I kind of want to just give him a hug, dude. I just want to hug you up. I just want to hug you up and then dap you up after. Pool and mushy peas. No mushy peas.
No, I mean, look, it's not a firefly to the sun. I mean, yes.
I'm exaggerating slightly.
No, but not even slightly. No, it is. To the sun. I mean, it's kind of like a...
Oh my God, Coleman can laugh? That's crazy. It was adorable. Let's go.
Third of the sun to the sun. So yes, there are other sections that the entitlement programs are slightly bigger, but that's it. After that, it's well, I guess interest on the debt now might be overtaking it, but then it's the military. We've spent something like $20 trillion since the collapse of the Soviet Union. And that.
Hell yeah, Tracy, that's a good line. It will be what it will be.
Yeah, no, that's a huge driver of the 37 trillion. But you are absolutely right that with the
It sounds
interest
huge when you don't include the biggest GDP in the world in the denominator.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a lot of money for the government to be spending, which is currently $37 trillion in debt. It's not the GDP isn't spending money on defense, right? It's not. It's the government spending this, and
No,
they
but
do not
the
bring in
spending
enough
numbers
money to.
only have meaning in comparison to the denominator.
No, I don't know if I don't.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so
If everyone's in debt, do each other the one's in debt. Hell yeah, dude. You just incredibles me.
do you want to move off this? Do you want the last
Sure.
word?
No, go ahead.
Let's move off this. Okay. So I'm curious, do you support, I don't think I've ever heard an example of a military intervention that you support. And I'm curious, in your anti-war philosophy, I know that you're okay with, if for some reason Mexico invaded us, you'd be okay with us pushing them out. You're not, everyone supports a purely defensive war.
Yes, absolutely.
So is that the limit of the wars that you support, or is there any war in the past 100 years that America has fought that was not, or let me just say, any military intervention that was not purely defensive that you support?
So you should say World War I and II. Because you get accused of being anti-Semitic. He's giving you a free bridge to say you think it's okay to save the Jews during the Holocaust. That's all. He's just giving you a bridge, man. Take it.
No, I mean, I think in American history, right, the Revolution and the War of 1812 were purely defensive wars. And that's, leaving aside any of the stuff about how conspiratorial the founding fathers were about what the British were about to do, none of that really matters to me. They sent an invading army, and I think people have a right to declare their independence, so that's a legitimate war. In terms of a war that I could support, I can't think of an example of one. I think that
Because it's America bad always.
there's, like, if you're, I like, just talking in theory here, right? I do think that if you're attacked and if you have reason to believe that you can't stop attacks from continuing to come, and that the only way to save your people is to, God forbid, kill some innocent people on the other side, I could see there being a horrible consequentialist argument for it. But I don't, I don't support any of the wars that America's been in my lifetime, for sure.
Okay, so I can give you two examples of wars I definitely support. One is Korea. If we hadn't intervened in Korea, there would be no South Korea. It would be, the whole peninsula would be.
Let's sit and watch things that piss us off, or we'll all have different feelings about it. Either way, this ain't making no one happy. It makes everybody happy. This is the motion of the ocean, baby. This is where you come to understand the way you perceive the world. This guy is a MAGA guy. But this guy is a MAGA guy. That's adjacent, to Nick Fuentes. He's like the link between Nick Fuentes and Joe Rogan, dude.
Ruled by the Kim family, and every humanitarian consequence that's come as a result of that in the past 70 years, including all the famines and the repression and the purges. And so to me, it's easy to make a consequentialist argument that our intervention in Korea, though it did increase deaths from what would have resulted, was in the long run a good choice. And then I can also easily support the military intervention in Liberia in 2003, where this country has been at civil war, hundreds of thousands of deaths, people slaughtering each other left and right for 12 years. Clinton does nothing. George Bush shows up, sends 2,000 Marines. Within a week, the Civil War is done, and the country's been at peace for 20 years, and they fly American flags there. And these seem to me both examples where your philosophy of war would not allow us to go do things like that, whereas mine would.
Yeah. So
this makes people feel happy? No. Well, one, it makes me feel happy. Watching Dave Smith fail in debates is like a guilty pleasure. This is pornographic. And two, it makes people think about the world around them. Everyone spends their time looking to be happy. Sometimes you got to face the consequences.
I guess like the Liberia one certainly did work out fairly well. Korea, I don't honestly.
So you support Liberia?
No, I said it worked out fairly well.
But you don't support it even though it worked out well.
This is the point that I'm getting to, right? Is that so? No, I wouldn't have supported the policy, but it did work out a lot better than the other catastrophes. But if you want to sit here and say that like my philosophy wouldn't allow Liberia to have happened, like okay, fair enough. But your philosophy won't prevent a.
Oh my God! Now he's using the. This is the argument people use in abortion. What if you're wrong? Well, if you're wrong, you've sent thousands millions of people to their death. If I'm wrong, I made a woman have a baby she didn't want. Because I can get with that. Hey, sometimes people need to be reminded, dude. Sometimes you got to give someone a little spanking, bro.
Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen. And I'll take that trade.
I wouldn't say my philosophy is pro-Iraq. I wasn't pro the Iraq War.
No, it's not a matter, but you're saying my philosophy of not getting into these entanglements will not allow us to have the success of Liberia.
That's correct, right?
So then, right, yes, sure. But then the flip side of that is that then you also have to credit that my philosophy would not allow the catastrophes that I just rattled off.
So it's a trade-off.
Forget
it's a
your
trade-off.
point.
Your philosophy is, as every philosophy
everything is trade-offs. Yeah, everything in life is trade-offs, sure. But like, yes.
But that's a deep insight. That's a deep insight. I mean, that's not something to gloss over. It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off in human lives on both sides.
100%. But well, yes, it's a trade-off. I suppose it can be. Everything is a trade-off. But also, the thing is that giving the government power to do something is not, something that you can then always have control over than how it's going to be used. And so, yes, in a sense, it is a trade-off. Like everything in life is trade-offs. But I think the trade-off is way on my side. And if you're saying that, like, of the last...
Hold on, bro. Hold on, dude. There's two pretty ladies in the chat getting frisky. We're sorry.
19 military interventions, we got 2 who didn't turn out to be complete catastrophes. That's like, oh yeah, I would still rather err on the side of the trade-off that didn't allow for all of the catastrophes to happen.
I would say there are more than 2. You could probably add the NATO bombing in the 1990s, and you could probably add getting Saddam out of Kuwait.
Which NATO bombing in the 1990s? Serbia you're talking about?
Both, 95 and 99.
Yeah.
William? Hell yeah, dude. That's a show I would sign up for. Like, can I buy my ticket now? Thank you. Trump doesn't do trade-offs? No. Trump doesn't do trade deals. Oh, my God! Sorry.
No, all right. I mean, there's...
Those are more... I'll grant you those are more arguable cases. Those aren't shut and dry like Liberia.
No, I mean, I think honestly, I know a lot more. I know more about
experts would argue that we.
Hell yeah, dude. That's slightly frisky. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, brother.
halted a genocide in progress. And that's
No,
not
no
nothing.
expert has any evidence that we halted a genocide in
no
progress.
expert?
This is what they said. This is what they said leading into the war, right? Bill Clinton said that like 100,000 people or something like that had already been killed, and the FBI went over there and investigated afterward, and they just didn't find anything to back up those claims. And Milosevic had absolutely committed war crimes, and he had killed some soldiers and he had done some bad things, and there were people who got massacred, but even he never even got convicted of the genocide charge in the International Criminal Court. He got convicted of war crimes and I think some other lesser charge. But no, I think that thing was sold on lies, just like all the other wars of my lifetime have been.
I wonder if he feels the same way about Palestine.
Okay. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about your anti-war philosophy, because I've heard, one of the arguments on the other side of you is that the world is basically a competition of great powers, or if not great powers, then regional powers. And if America were to adopt your favorite stance of isolationism and purely defensive
We would just get World War II again, dude.
wars, we're not fighting a war until there's a bomb dropped, on American soil, and then we're going to fight a purely defensive war to eliminate the threat, and that's it. What would happen is all of the other powers in the world, from Russia to China to Iran, would simply fill in the void, right? And so you have examples like, we pull our military bases out of the Philippines, and it's not 2 years before China has created an artificial island and plopped a military base right off the coast of the Philippines. And then there's the additional point, which I want to get your response to, which is that we feel many critiques of our military-industrial complex. The fact that we have this revolving door where you can predict with coin flip accuracy that the current Secretary of Defense is going to end up at a weapons company in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And there's a revolving door. And in the aggregate, it wouldn't require a genius in human psychology to think that perhaps this pushes the whole system to be a little more war-happy than it otherwise would. And I think I would probably disagree with you. I think I would certainly disagree with you about the power of that effect. But
oh my God, I just need to say how very disgusted I am watching them fucking demolish part of the White House. And of course, the reason is utterly, horribly disgusting and ridiculous beyond belief. Oh no. Oh no, Trump is doing something dumb. That's why we call him Trump.
what would you say to the critique that Russia and China also have their own military-industrial complexes? It's not even a revolving door in the
Damn, Nikki. What?
case of Russia, because they're in the same room. It's like the 49% owner of Kalashnikov became the deputy secretary of defense in 2018 in Russia. And he didn't even have to get rid of his shares in Kalashnikov, right? Yeah. So they're not revolving in and out. They're just in the same room. They're the same people. In China, it all works through bribery because everything is state-owned, but they've had massive bribery scandals in the past 10 years where the weapons companies are bribing the people that decide whether to get their to secure their contracts, to give them higher prices, who are bribing the people above them to make decisions that redound to the benefit of ultimately financial motives. So if America pulls back from the world, what is to stop the military-industrial complexes of all the other countries in the world from simply filling the space now that they're undeterred?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think, sure, I've certainly heard this argument before. I would kind of point out that it does.
Trump wants a ballroom, dude. You know what I mean? He likes balls. Yeah, I don't. That's wild. It's like a bomb.
Seemed to me that the more pro-war position.
Sorry, I just need my fucking family to realize I'm so emotionally threadbare that I struggle on the daily. I feel that in my soul.
Almost always seems to rely on like an unfalsifiable counterfactual of how things would be way worse if we didn't do this. And whereas the anti-war position tends to more rely on the actual catastrophes that have happened. And so like, just to be clear, which I'll defend my philosophical views or whatever, but the idea of like, oh, the problem with the non-interventionist libertarians is that if we completely withdrew from the world, then China comes and totally takes over the world in our absence. It's like, okay, but like, just first, I will say, just on a practical level, like, without embracing pure Ron Paulianism or something, which is probably not going to happen tomorrow, like our criminal government in DC could have just not lied through their teeth to sell the war in Iraq. And like that would have just been a lot better. 1 million people would still be alive and trillions of dollars wouldn't have been wasted and tens of thousands of our bravest young boys wouldn't have committed suicide in the aftermath of it. And so like, we didn't need to fight all of these disastrous wars, even if you think on top of that, you can't completely pull back from the world. But I don't know. I fundamentally reject the idea that there will be one power who takes over the world. You know, part of
It wouldn't
why
have to be one. Each regional power fills the vacuum of its own area that we leave.
Yeah,
I mean, and
currently,
it's not a hypothetical based on nothing. It's based on, can you point to a single time period?
What's up, Matt? So when you call me and ask what I have planned for Mom's 80th tomorrow, you aren't even coming to the fucking state of Alabama? Damn, Pixie, no! Don't go homeless, no! Bro, you know what we need to do, dude? Van life. We need to get you a van.
Period in the past 5,000 years of human civilization where the regional powers have not expanded using their militaries to the best of their ability, given the accounting for the blowback they will get. Can you point to any time? So it's not.
No, I'm not. Yeah, okay, but I'm not suggesting that like that no regional powers will exert influence over their realm of their sphere of influence. Like, of course not. But I'm also seeing right now, Vladimir Putin is limping through his 3rd year in a war with Ukraine. I don't see him as being a threat to dominate Europe anytime soon. The rest of Europe is all against him and much wealthier and much stronger than him. China is more
But you
of a
implicitly,
power.
even in that argument, you concede implicitly that if they were less strong, for instance, if they didn't have all the backing of the United States, that he could expand, and that would be the natural tendency throughout all of human history.
I'm not conceding that that's necessarily the natural tendency, but sure, if Ukraine was weaker, he would be able to have defeated the country quicker. I'll certainly grant that.
It's not the natural tendency. So you don't agree with the Mearsheimer guys that believe great powers have a default tendency to expand up to the limit of the resistance against them?
Well, listen, certainly I think every organization has a desire to expand. I mean, this is true in general of businesses, of countries. So they're always trying to expand, not necessarily territorially. And I do think that a country like China, who is kind of known for playing the long game, even in their kind of crazy centrally controlled method. No, I don't think that they're watching America going bankrupt, fighting all of these wars and saying, oh, we got to get in on all that action. I think that, so essentially, yeah, I would probably agree with much of what John Mearsheimer says in the sense that it is the way of the world that great powers will have their realm of influence.
I'm cooking dinner for her and I'm baking a cake for her. I plan to treat her special tomorrow, but I don't have money to make reservations at a fancy restaurant or anything. If you want her to have, I see what you're saying. Even though I've been taking care of my entire life, so I have no clue what I'll do if I end up homeless. I've lived in the same house since I was born. Blah. That's terrifying to me. Jesus. The first time you move, it's a wild experience. The world doesn't feel the same. True.
I do think that's true, but looking at the world right now, I mean, it's just, I find this to be kind of a silly thing where we become the world empire, we bully the entire world, and then we sit there being worried that...
All right. Dave has been talking for almost an hour, and he still hasn't said anything, so I'm just going to not do that. What's going on, baby? How you doing?
So far, so good.
Oh, what you doing, motherfucker?
He's doing political stuff.
This video is killing my soul.
Well,
So no.
you were doing political stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have Zaku Prime? Do you know?
Oh, let me take a look. I thought I got him, but I could be wrong. Hey, be safe, Tracy. Now we went from having like this really like semi-erotic moment to now having like a somber moment. It's very wholesome, man. New phone, who dis? Never, Nikki. Don't apologize. It is Dewey. Oh. This shit is in my gut hard as fuck, though, dude. I shouldn't have worn these pants to stream. Thank you for my DetNet ampules, bitch.
Only people who aren't achieving much get all starry-eyed over a fan.
Get all starry-eyed over a fan? Hell yeah. Fuck. I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. And while I do that, I'm gonna play the Ghosted Girls song, bro.
Do you have Silva and Aegis Prime?
Hold on one second. Let me use the bathroom. I'll be able to answer this in a second.
Okay.
Fucking all this water, bro.
She came in laughing, red eyes are warm, armor all crooked, heart still warm. Called me bear with a sailor's grin. Said, show me the fight that burns within. Her joy was a spark in the salty gloom. Turned my fever to a flower in bloom. Every scar forgot its pain when a puppy laugh broke the chain. Oh, ghosts and girls, they find me still. One with a smile, one with a chill. The living hold me, the lost unveil. Love the tide I cannot sail. The twins of fire, roots just storm. Two hearts perfume, fierce and warm. They stitched their courage into my skin. Swore the world would never win. We were left out in the God's decay, drunk on dreams, too proud to pray. But even joy had a shadow face, a silver ghost I couldn't erase. Oh, ghosts and girls, they haunt my bed. One breath of life, one word unsaid. The sea remembers what hearts conceal. Love's a wound that will not heal. Silver hair, eyes full of tide, whisper my name from the other side. That I was always here, my flame then vanished, soft as
Whew.
fever broke. And
God damn.
I saw a ghost behind my
Back.
That piss felt like it lasted a lifetime. Holy fuck.
Sometimes they do.
All right. And then you said Aegis what prime?
Silva and Aegis.
That's what water does, Will? I know, Nikki, it's awful. All right, so we can go to... search. Where's the search button? I could have swore...
It's by order. Go to Melee. It's a name. It'll be up at the top.
Yeah, but wasn't there a way to search in your things?
Yeah, or I thought there was. Maybe not. Just go to Melee. It's up top. Oh, sorry. It won't be. It's called Silva and Aegis. It'll be an S.
Oh wait, I can do by mastery rank and just go to the
Yeah, and then-
bottom.
Or progress. Progress. Master rank is how much they cost. Go to progress.
Oh, I got you. Well, it's I don't have the I have that one.
Silva and Aegis Prime.
Yeah.
Do you have Epitaph Prime? It's a pistol.
The only two primes I'm missing are Akvasto and Compressa.
Gotcha. And did you have the Zaku? Warframe.
Yeah, looks like I have them.
Okay. Do you have that new sniper rifle that came with Caliban?
I don't think so. Well, actually, I can take a look. Show profile. So I have no weapons to max right now. Progress. IQ Prime. Oh, I'm missing that. Sancti Tigris, Sporthrix, Tenefurax.
Oh, I can see it there. The Valdaria Prime. Yeah, it's grayed out.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have Helios Prime? You probably do. He's an old one. The robot guy.
Apparently I have all of them. Yeah, I have them. Yeah, there he is.
Gotcha.
I have all the doggos.
Which primes do you need in general? Like if you just go to the Infinity one and go to all the primed.
Is there a way to do that?
I thought there used to be a search bar.
Yeah, I'm not seeing one, dude. Oh, whoops. Let's just do this. Progress. All grays. Agvosto Prime. Caliban Prime I don't have.
Okay.
Then a bunch of Kodo weapons. Dagq Prime. Kirist Prime, the melee weapon. Battle Pixie Engage. Compressor Prime, Koge Prime. I almost have that. Dual Comus Prime, that one that you were farming in that one infested level for the longest time. Back in the day. Then a couple Kubo weapons. Tico Prime. Or Tekka or whatever. Vidara Prime, Venato Prime, Urelli Prime. So there's a few primes I don't have
The
right
newer
now.
Prime stuff, yeah.
Yeah. The Daikyu Prime looks fucking cool in the picture.
That's a big bow. That came with Urelli. You said Kogake Prime?
Yeah.
What were the other ones? Some of the older ones? Kogake.
Kogake, the Kamas,
Yeah.
and then I don't. Venado, is that new?
That might be.
That's the big scythe one. Yeah. Kogake. Oh, the Kirst, the big dagger.
Kirst, yeah.
Trying to build that one for a lifetime. And then Akvasto Prime. I think that's it. Other than the dog collar, I've been.
I had the old Don color.
I have one component to it. Oh, this song is gangster. Watch us bound by broken friends. Dude, I can't believe how well that helmet fits. That's crazy. Yeah, dude, I gotta do a Ren react today. I gotta upload the one from yesterday.
I was just gonna go do the Maru's Bazaar thing for the Nightwave points if you want.
I can
As soon
come
as
with
my
you.
phone
But
decides to start working.
I already did it, but I can come with you.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to.
So get to shoot something. Nobody listens to me, Matt. Said Stuart. I just did, Stuart. What you gonna do about that?
Did you do the one to get the 30 Universal medals?
I don't remember. I think so.
Yeah, it was an interception mission.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I played a league game with Eric yesterday where I was fucking getting ganked left and right, dude. It was beautiful. I
Hate crime.
Yeah, I forgot how fun Yasuo was. You should be able to do this on the Steel Path version, and like it's got a better.
Yeah, or 2 Ayatan sculptures.
Or like a mega Ayatan sculpture worth more.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
Or at least the best Ayatan sculpture. Take like the shitty ones out of rotation.
Mhm.
You sound like my wife. Chat's going fucking wild, dude. Listen to Stuart. I do too, bro. Whoa. Playing with mouse and keyboard feels bad now that I have like a.
What's wrong with the control?
It's not plugged in.
Oh,
I was charging my headset last night.
yeah, I don't like playing with mouse and keyboard.
I don't even know how to baby form.
That's 5.
Yeah, I just tried it out.
It's not very often I get beaten here.
It is many songs, discord sweet beneath one fractured sky.
Still gonna get the items. You never know what you're gonna get. And then, of course, it activates traps, get knocked over. You might have had the right idea.
There's nothing worth getting in these derelict maps anyway.
I draw the line at the MAGA ones. I think it's wild that there's like a section of every group or subcategory that's just radical as fuck. And like the MAGA renegades, bro. What the fuck, dude? My favorite are the furries that are also MAGA furries. Oh my god.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah, dude. They're all over Blue Sky. It's crazy.
Anybody on Blue Sky is a furry. Why'd I get minus 2,000 night wave points game?
They attack you,
Fuck is
dude.
that?
Dude, I'm an AI musician now. Bro, it's crazy how I don't know, dude. It's crazy how I have a song on there that's already got like 10,000 views. What the fuck, man? Do they understand the message at all? Bro, I bet you they think the same thing about us, dude. Josh wants to start an AI band together, but he wants to do Daft Punk. And I don't want to do Daft Punk. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Ew. I like moody music, bro. That's hilarious.
I have mushrooms running all over my ship now. Or, sorry, not my ship. They're all in my house. There's little mushrooms everywhere. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's what I meant to look at.
Dude, I don't know what it is about yogurt, bro, but this shit slaps.
Yogurt's pretty good.
Yeah, dude, I'm a crackhead, dude. I'm becoming a
I
basic.
draw the line when there's like chunks of shit in it, like blueberry yogurt.
Well, I don't mind the blueberries, but when you start putting granola in the yogurt, you lost me.
I don't mind granola.
Nah, give me. Nah.
So do you have Zaku Prime, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't have Caliban or Ureli.
Correct, Calvin. You're only going with your mission. And Ceto Prime, you have that? The shotgun?
Yeah. I think I use the Ceto Prime less than the normal Ceto, though.
But the Vidaria, you don't.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. This yogurt is slap. I might just because I'm a little high, though.
An Epitaph you said you had.
Yeah.
Velix Prime?
Velix. What's that?
That's the one that came with, what's her face there? The fucking female Vobin.
Oh, yeah, I got that. Yep.
Ballistica Prime.
Got that, yeah.
Masseter Prime. That big club that came with Fat Ass.
I have that too, yeah. Yogurt has more.
Okina?
Who?
Okina Prime. The
Yeah,
size.
I believe I got that one, yep.
Okay, so just the gun then. I'll go give it to you. How the fuck do you get your clan dojo? Oh, star map, I guess. There's probably another way to do it, but that's how I'm gonna do it.
That's how I do it. If there's an easy way to do it, I don't know what it is. I gotta make weird faces randomly. Like you're on drugs, dude. Just want to. Is that why people make weird faces when they're on drugs? See what their teeth feel like? I wasn't wondering why crackheads do the things they do. I'm interested. I'm profoundly interested in crackheads. This is gonna be funny. I'm gonna give you like the least useful thing to you.
Two platinum, yeah.
Like even a mod would have gave you endo, dude.
This is a pretty cool gun, by the way.
The Fedora. I've never even heard of it.
The lightnings, it like smites them with lightning when you shoot them and stuff.
What if they started releasing exalted weapons, but the prime variants? Like you can get Quincy's sniper
Oh,
rifle.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
I mean, sometimes they have like the ones that have some of them, like Valkyrie does, for example.
Yeah,
Like her claws.
Yeah, but it'd be cool if it was like a weapon that never existed before. Excuse me. But the prime variants would be like it's this way everyone can use his sniper rifle. They can't use like all the abilities attached to it, but like the sniper rifle itself. Be a really good way to reuse an asset and then also let other people use like Quincy's gun.
Yeah, you never know what they'll do. They're kind of crazy that way.
I will find her. I have pixie power.
Bleeds its rivers in rust and red. And in that storm people sing.
Do you have anything in particular here you need to do?
Oh man, I gotta take a look at this thing.
Oh, the land remembers every oath, every sacred name.
No, just missions, man. Mobile defense would help.
Oh, okay. Look at that.
I gotta actually use my controller for that. Oh! Dude, I'm gonna release a whole musical to Illimin, dude. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be heartless too, because it's gonna be done by AI. But the words I wrote, so it means something to me. And I'll go to be like, Peter, this way you don't ever have to read the book. You could just read, you can listen to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, pussy?
This quest to freaking kill enemies with finishers is pretty goddamn easy with this Bronco mod.
Just listen to Stuart and not break the terms of service. Exactly, dude. Or the TNC. Jump, dude.
Oh, fucking almost fell into that water.
I cometh.
We have some smite infusion. Bunch of radiation damage on your shit. I had two ability, the Zeneric ones, polarized into him, so all I can put on there are ability modes.
You're like, am I over on fucks a little bit?
That's what you want.
His laughter cracks his sorrow. Each scar a hymn to fallen kings. The tide still knows his murdered son. The father fights though the war is
Getting 175% radiation damage.
that storm still burns for love. Forgive, return.
Everyone's always hunting the elusive pixie.
Every god who forgot their name through storm and rock, through death and rain. A sinner bleeds, but still remains. A sinner breathes, but still remains.
Oh, bro, I was still sitting here defending the last system.
Holy fuck, my smite just did 1,000,000 damage.
You're like, yeah, I fuck.
Remember back when that move didn't do anything?
Yeah, it would do like 1 damage, knock him over.
Knock them over and radiate them.
And you're like, okay, I'm removing that.
And the only value it had was the ability mod, the smite infusion.
Yeah.
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
Listeners fear, burned under tears, sees me as my cage for the body that betrayed me. Snow white thighs, a bulge beneath my green loincloth.
You had a good run, buddy.
Mocked my truth.
You had a rough time, man.
Beneath me was prismatic sky, iridescent blues bleeding into fiery oranges, stars glinting like scattered jewels.
1,700 fucking energy. Alright.
Yeah, just keep picking up energy over and over and over. What the fuck? I fell down that trapdoor.
I lost so much energy. That's crazy.
With what? Magnet proc?
No, just... I don't know. No, I'm...
Your heal?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, now I'm back to my normal pool. Oh no, I'm only back to 13 now.
Oh, did you take that mod off or something? Or the arcane?
No, I have it. It fluctuates. Now I'm back at 15. But now I'm back to 12. Like, I don't know.
I put on some yellow shards so that whenever I pick up energy, I get more.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
So by the time I finally went to sleep, I'd been awake for 40 hours.
Dude.
It was a horrible sleep. And then yesterday, I was about to go to sleep, and then we got 2 callouts. It's like, oh my fucking god.
Oh no.
And one of them was the goddamn woman that I had to stay up for before.
Oh, we were supposed to be leaving. I was up there killing people still.
So I don't have a lot of mods on Oberon to like influence his ability, like his powers. I have mostly just survival stuff on. Seems to work quite well.
You have a lot more health than I do. Jesus fuck.
Yeah. I gotta level back up too. I wasn't even leveled up all the way.
20-minute countdown. What's up, baby? Kia!
She at work?
Yeah. She's out fighting crime. But not literally. But figuratively. But fighting crime.
Why do I have so much health?
Oh!
Oh, I have Arcane Blessing. There we go. That'll do it.
In the closet, no customers. I knew you were gay. No, I'm just joking. That's why she liked me, bro. I come off like a big old giant lady. I'm very sensitive. I'll talk about my feelings all night. Tell me about your dreams. Ah! She said, "Yep." Damn.
How many?
Shots.
You need multiple mobile defense ones?
Oh yeah, I need 2 more mobile defenses.
Oh, look at that. There's some relic ones.
Ooh. Ooh, chest pain. Oh.
Yeah, I get like some crazy shot of pain in my fucking calf from dehydration. Although I didn't know I was dehydrated. I stayed up all night. I had a Red Bull. I drank water. I had some pop. I drank water. I had a vitamin drink. I drank water.
God, I want a Red Bull, man. But
No,
no. Dude. Yeah, so what was it? Not yesterday kind of sucks. Yesterday my walk sucked ass. I didn't do very good. Pump has the H20. When are we all joining the premiere?
H2O, not H20.
Well, H2O is whatever, water. Nah. Oh yeah.
Hydrogen monoxide.
So like what was it? Tuesday, we went on this super long, well, comparatively super long walk, and I felt like I was on cloud 9. I was like, dude, I got this shit. So she's like, let's go for another walk to the night because we walk every night. And I was like, yeah, dude, we gotta double it, bro. I only went 1,700 steps that second walk through last night. I was all like, damn, bro, and that shit beat my ass. I was dying.
Something's better than nothing.
Well, yeah, but still. The walk before that, I was like, dude, this is easy shit, dude. I got this. And then someday your body's just like, listen here, bitch. Ooh, what's up, dog?
This guy's just got some stank on him.
He wouldn't.
You shoot me with your turret? That's fucking adorable.
Walk
No, I don't
every-
want to take the turret from him. I want to stab him. There we go. That's better.
Today it's gonna be our Ghost and Girls. Dude, it's just on the playlist, kid. Get out of here. That song has got like 9,000 plays. That's crazy, dude. That's weird. Maybe that's where the new active youths are. They're all messing with AI instead of YouTube. I don't even think my YouTube channel's got 9,000 months or views in a month. That's crazy, dude.
I gotta make album artwork.
Yeah, dude.
Stop it, Jade Eximus. You're being a cyberbully right now. Look at them all down here. What the fuck are you guys doing? Just a pile of them down here. They all get radiated and don't know what to do.
There's a petition to ban AI music from Spotify. That's hilarious, dude. Spotify would love it if AI music would take off. Because then they can get rid of the artist altogether. They have a good leg to argue from that we shouldn't let AI music take over that realm, dude. But I think it's initially we thought humans were so unique that we could never imitate art like that. And it's like, well, actually, dude.
If you have access to all the art.
Yeah,
That was a really long defense computer.
that one felt like last time.
I thought we were only gonna have to do 2, but then as soon as it finished, it's like, no, do 2 more, idiot. Damn it. Why am I invulnerable? Oh right, my passive.
You get free 3
It's
hits.
fucking passive. Yeah.
Spotify is the main culprit in stealing art to train AI. Look up the lawsuit. Ah. Yeah. See, I knew nothing about it. I knew what side Spotify I was going to be on. Follow the money, baby.
Yeah, they seem to be the villains of the music industry. Even fucking Apple treats the artists better than they do. And that's saying something because they use slaves to make their phones.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'll have the video out soon. When I get off stream, I'm gonna go watch it. I probably won't do the live premiere though. What the fuck? Where's my...
You took your gun, it's over here. It's over by the door. The way we gotta go, so.
Oh, I went and picked up the computer. Oh, where'd the computer go?
I got it. Where's this goober at? Shoot him with your first ability, loses all of his armor.
I don't have my first ability on.
No.
I have War Cry on.
For melee. That explains why I'm attacking so quickly, I guess. Do you have the mod on with it too, where it lasts forever as long as you keep killing things?
No.
It's a great mod. Gives you an armor buff for like forever. So as long as you're melee killing, it keeps going on, keeps going.
I thought of just a way to increase my energy pull even further is just give me a burst of armor.
Yeah. And there's that other one that actually turns your shields into armor too, eh?
Mmm.
Grass in some rooms on this map, you can't even tell if it's there or not. Because you're like, was there grass here before?
Yeah, I think this was supposed to be there.
Nox, you want to stop fucking following me around?
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
I just used my ultimate on a guy who was in the doorway, and you know how when the enemies fall down, the doors stop recognizing them as there? He falls to the ground, the door slams on him, he just goes flying into the sky.
Nothing stronger than ragdoll physics, dude.
Yeah. Nothing gives greater entertainment value than ragdoll physics.
That and boobs. We need ragdoll. That's what titty physics are, Jiggle.
Depending on the game, they kind of are. You're dead or alive, wooden tits.
Yeah.
That mobile defense seemed to take really long. Comparatively speaking, of course.
Because they're just fucking with us, dude.
You can steal these plants here, eh? Those are the rare, one of the rare ones.
When you picked it up, I put it in my inventory. That's weird.
Oh, even better. Or I picked it up as you ran by and it flopped out.
Maybe.
Sometimes things flop out and you can pick them up. I think one of the absolute best arcanes in the game is this fucking melee crescendo one. You don't realize how strong just a permanent 12 times melee multiplier is.
Yeah. Kind of want to go for the forma blueprints. I have none cooking.
You have 80 something forma though.
That's true. I do have 84. Jesus Christ. You're right. You're right. Dude, gum is amazing.
Guns are amazing.
No, gum, dude.
I know.
Fuck your guns, dude. Ah!
They are pretty fun.
Ah,
You haven't
no.
lived until you've done a speed reload.
Until you've done a speed reload.
I was just about to do something and forgot completely what it was. Oh, right. Make it so that forma are crafting.
You always have to have one going, bro. You're like, I have 739 formas.
I only have 3 blueprints. I was crafting a bunch of Omni ones for a while, but now they set randomly need Argon. Do they always need Argon crystals, those little fuckers? No, they didn't, because now they require nitane extracts, too. Yeah.
Formas require
Omni-
19 extracts?
Omni forma, the new ones, they require 4 regular forma, 1 Argon crystal, and 10 nitane extracts. So I will not be crafting any of those.
I have a bunch of that shit. I'm never gonna craft those either. Those blueprints, because I never want to spend 4 forma. I was like, that's too many forma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're really good. Like Omni forma are really good now. But that crafting, what the hell's this icon up here? One friend request? Who sent me a friend request? Who the fuck is this guy?
Friend request.
Oh, apparently I have a Nightwave reward now. It really wants me to do this deep Archimedia one, but I just don't want to.
Yeah,
We gotta do another mobile defense.
yeah, I got one more. Uh,
Welcome to Earth.
Termite droppings, which the Austrons call little black. You may also never form a consonant again, but at least you know what you did.
Oh. Mission's there whenever you're ready.
13,000 plays? That's fucking wild, dude. Okay, whatever. Got a lot of these. What's my upgrade relic? I have a max. Might as well use one.
Try to Convectrix again. It's been a while. Yes, I don't know if I told you or not. I have November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd off, and then I work every single day for the rest of the month.
Yeah, dude. Absolute fucking fuckery.
I volunteered for it, to be fair.
Oh, well, you're a crazy boy. I mean, I
A
would
lot of
have.
money.
Yeah, it's,
Remember that stretch I was on when I was dealing with the fucking cult? There wasn't
Yeah.
even a lot of overtime days in there, and the
Yeah.
check was $10,000 after taxes.
yeah, I would have done
I'm
it
like,
too.
all right, I'll do another one of those right before Christmas.
Yeah, I would have too. Holy fuck, dude.
Why is this Lardar's immune to fucking being killed to die?
$10,000. Bro, I could live off that for a whole year. Jesus Christ. I'd sacrifice 3 months straight for that kind of shit.
The ragdoll from the Smite is just incredible.
Pornographic. I'm glad they kept the fact that it knocks people down as one of the core
Yeah.
elements of the ability.
Well, ragdolls them now. They don't just fall down; they just get fucking yeeted, which is arguably better.
Yeah.
And it also does just a crazy amount of damage. It is a high damage move now, and it strips their armor completely. It's just a really good move. You'd probably be better off getting rid of his ultimate for the fucking armor move thing.
Well, to be fair, you've always had that opinion.
Well, it depends. If you're not using like the ability mod to give you the radiation damage, I mean, it didn't used to have a lot of value. Now, I mean, it's just still a crazy valuable move, even with or because of the damage too. So it's full armor strip, a ton of damage, and it just lays them the fuck out. And if you put the mod on, you get the radiation damage too. Oh, Raven Sliver's okay. I don't think I did my Iron Wake thing this week. Do I have a computer?
Murdering
Yeah, I
murdering millions of boys.
do. Chairman Mao attack. Oh, you would. He gets corrupted as my bullets are in the air about to hit his body. Bullshit. Fuck, I love the Convector because it's such an underrated gun.
If I ever get a ribbon for it, it'll probably.
I gave you.
I don't remember. I know Peter got one from you.
Yeah, and then he never used it because YouTubers didn't tell him to.
Yeah.
God fucking damn it. Why do you guys all have overguard? Yeah, I think his smite takes off. Yeah, his smite removes overguard too.
Yeah, it's the anti-fucking tank thing.
I always had a gangster fucking name for a move, but it never did all that much, so it's kind of good they're riding the ship, so to speak.
It's called Smite, for God's sake. Get
Yeah.
smoted, dude. Yo, why are you so fucking tanky, dude?
We can head out now. You're over in the right direction there. Did I just smite him? He survived and it made him executable? I want to shoot this guy in the head with the Convectrix, because I'm pretty sure that they don't like being shot by the Convectrix. Yeah, they don't like being shot in the head by the Convectrix. They also don't like your Latrons, so it's kind of hard to tell.
I don't get to control where those bullets go, bro.
They have a mind of their own.
Just gonna use the gun for a whole week straight and see how many kills this thing gets. So that when next time Peter's
You
like,
write down how many it had when you started?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was none. Oh, I don't have
I
it.
like this room. Yeah, I like this room. I like your energy color on the grass. Very spooky.
Spookers. El Spookerino. Hey, what's up, boys? There you guys are. This weapon is just so ridiculous.
There's so many explosions, but there's no damage happening to the computer because it's us. I was like, what's up? What can I pick up? There's acorns on the ground.
I do like me some acorns, bro.
It's so nice that you can just pick them up now. It's kind of ridiculous you couldn't before. That guy was shooting you. Now he's laying on the floor. In a puddle of his own urine.
Oh shit, Red's new song drops in 3 minutes. Oh.
Thunderbolt? Oh.
You gonna be on tonight?
Me?
Or
Yeah.
today?
Peter says he will be too. It's his turnaround.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Because after this, I gotta jump off, react to that video, upload it, do all that jazz, and then my girlfriend should be getting home around 5 today.
Yeah, I'll be on tonight.
And then we'll go,
I didn't get a great sleep, but I refuse to spend 2 days sleeping.
But then, what was it? I'll be around after that because we're gonna go to the lake and do a walk over there or whatever.
That's
After
good.
you get a cute little dinner, bruh.
Go see if you could find the Kingdom of Canada, see what they're up to.
You already know, bro. By the way,
You should just try and join. You should just infiltrate them. That'd be funny.
That would be funny as fuck.
Give you something to do. Make some streams out of it.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Fuck, dude. I had a funny thing I was gonna say. I don't remember what it was though. But all right, brother. I'm gonna get out of here, dude. Go grab a shower.
Yeah, talk to you later.
Watch this Ren song.
Have a good one.
Peace. All right, guys. I'm gonna get off here as well. Grab a shower, watch the Ren song, upload the video, and prepare to do some stuff with Kia.